Mike, it's great to see you. How's everything gone for Missouri? I imagine pretty well with a good 5-0 start.
Yeah, it's nice. It's also good to see you around here. Looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend. It's been a good start to the season. Missouri has done what it needed to do at the beginning of the year, particularly with the way that the schedule was set up with six consecutive home games, the first five, then a bye, and now a obviously very difficult test coming this week with Alabama coming to town. But Eli Drinkwitz and his team has taken care of business against lesser opponents. Was able to face adversity in week two against Kansas, falling behind early by 15 and coming back to win the game by more than a score. And so they've been able to overcome some hurdles along the way. Got by South Carolina and Lenore Sellers in the opening week of SEC play a couple of weeks ago, and then handled UMass. And so now after a bye, again, looking forward to really where this team is, and we'll find out by 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock Central Time on Saturday when this game comes to a conclusion.
Well, Missouri strong on both sides of the ball. Let's start with offense. What's the personality of this Mizzou team on offense?
Go right at you. Physical. Love the outside zone with either Ahmad Hardy or Jamal Roberts. Able to play complementary football. Bo Perbula has been, I think, better than advertised. Still going through some learning pains or growing pains, if you will, and this is his first season as a starter. He's had a turnover in 4 consecutive games. And so, that's something that Missouri has got to fix. But it's something that they feel like all are things that he will learn from, as he continues to see the different nuances of what defensive coordinators are trying to do against him. The offensive line has been good at times. I think the one thing that would be of note is Missouri's allowed 12 sacks in the first 5 games. That's too many. And then if you look at Ahmad Hardy's numbers, they're spectacular. But look at the rush yards. He's got 730 yards through 5 games, but look at the number of yards after contact, more than 500, which tells you that he's taking hits close to the line of scrimmage. And so that's something that's got to improve as the season progresses as well.
Ahmad Hardy really is the story for Missouri. Breakout, like you said, so many yards after contact. Has it been fun to watch somebody step up like him in this offense?
It really has, because you see what he did as a freshman and his numbers more than 1,200 yards of rushing at Louisiana Monroe. And you wonder, how does that translate to the next level? He rushes for 250 yards earlier this season against Louisiana Monroe. He's got 7 now consecutive 100-yard games going back to last season, 5 consecutive games here at Missouri. He's just a guy that the legs never quit moving. He had a play against South Carolina, and you might have seen it on Sports Center through the highlights where the outside zone in the red zone, he runs into a pile. Literally, his back goes into the defenders. His feet come off of the ground, but then the feet return to the ground, and he spins out of a tackle and rolls into the end zone from about 3 yards out. I mean, those are God-given things that people just don't teach. And so he's been fun to watch.
He really has been. And then this Missouri defense is not allowing very much at all in terms of yardage, in terms of points so far this year. Who are the playmakers there?
Zion Young and Damon Wilson have been very good. Zion Young is a kid that transferred from Michigan State 2 years ago. Damon Wilson came from Georgia and is in the first year with the program. The two defensive ends, they've been impactful here earlier in the season. Josiah Trotter is Missouri's leading tackler. Jeremiah Trotter is his father. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. with the Eagles is his brother. Played at West Virginia a year ago. Just a very instinctive player, as you might imagine, because of those bloodlines. Plays downhill quite a bit, and has really the ability to just find it and go to it. I think if there's a concern for Missouri, it's in the back end of the defense. The safeties and the cornerbacks have not been as good as I think Missouri had hoped that they would be. How do they perform in this game with this challenge, with this quarterback and this group of receivers, not only the wide receivers, but the tight ends that Alabama can bring to the table. And so I think that's going to be one of the matchups that's going to be, again, interesting to watch. And we'll learn a lot more about Missouri after Saturday.
And I've got to ask about special teams because in a game like this ball game could be decided by special teams. How the
Well,
Tigers look
Missouri,
there.
yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. Missouri lost its field goal kicker in the first game of the season. Blake Craig, who has multiple 50-yard plus field goals made, a couple of 56-yarders a year ago, um, tore his ACL on his plant leg in the first game of the season against Central Arkansas. So Missouri will trot out a true freshman in Robert Meyer for PATs and field goals, and he's 6'7" with a long of 40, but he hasn't been challenged. One of two between 40 and 49, has not been able to go beyond 50, even attempted at this point in time. Coaches say they can run him out to about 52, but again, we haven't seen that. Drilled a very important field goal against South Carolina to put Missouri up by 9 late in that game. But yeah, that's a question mark, and again, it's something to watch. Another true freshman kicks off for Missouri. Oliver Robert Robbins is his name. 13 of his 27 kickoffs have resulted in touchbacks. But against South Carolina, because of the dangerous return game, they were able to drop kick 6 different times with the punter, Connor Wesselman, a transfer from Stanford, just to be able to directionally kick the ball at a place where Nick Harbor was not at on kick returns. So again, a little creativity from Eric Link, the special teams coach, and Eli Drinkwitz.
Well, watch out for that coming up on Saturday. You mentioned Coach Drinkwitz. He's probably one of my more entertaining coaches that I follow at SEC Media Days or just keep up with his appearances on the Paul Feinbaum show. What's he like to interact with day in, day out as you cover the Tigers?
Very thoughtful, very intelligent. Enjoys a good laugh, but is a guy that's very businesslike as well too. I mean this sincerely when I say this, and I've said it publicly a few times now. Eli Drinkwitz is going to win a national championship. I believe he is that organized. I believe he is that skillful as a recruiter. I believe that he's a good play caller and also has the ability to organize his staff. And I think he's very good with clock management. I think those are some of the tools that you need to have aside from right support internally and externally. I think Eli Drinkwitz is a coach that will win a national championship in his career. I just hope selfishly it's at Missouri while I'm still here.
Certainly can understand that. And he's rebuilding this Missouri program. We understand rebuilding is a really all around for O Field at Memorial Stadium. What does everything look like as Alabama gets ready to come to town coming up on Saturday? And then are you excited about the future vision of your home stadium?
Yeah, Roger, I am, and candidly, I'll tell you, the construction of the North End Zone project has been going so fast that I'm anxious to see what they've been able to do since the UMass game a couple of weeks ago. What fans will notice right away is that the legendary Rock M that was a part of Faurot Field since its inception is no longer there. It is now a construction zone, and there used to be, at least the last time we were there, there was a large wall that backed to a club area that they were building. But the structure of itself, all the steel for the project has been put in place, and so they're feverishly working on continuing to finish it out. But it is the most expensive undertaking that Mizzou Athletics and the University of Missouri has taken part in terms of its sports facilities. Mizzou Arena, now 20 plus years old, was built at a cost of about 75 to 80 million dollars. This is a 250 million dollar project, and it is just going to be fantastic. And it's thanks to the leadership of the university president, Moon Choi, who has really, pushed this thing and been able to keep people on pace to make sure that it's ready to go later this summer. His leadership and of course the board of curators and Laird Veach, our director of athletics, get a lot of credit for not only making sure it's going to happen, the fundraising components, but also just the vision of what it's going to look like. And, for Alabama fans coming, I'd say go to mutigers.com and you can find a link to the flyover, if you will, the fly through. It's going to be a pretty cool facility.
And for any other fans that are making their way to Columbia this weekend, anything else they should check out either on campus, around Columbia, Missouri, that'll be worth their time?
There are restaurants around town that people have talked about for years in the SEC since Missouri joined back in 12. I mean, Shakespeare's Pizza is something that Missouri's known for. Booch's is a burger place that's a pool hall that goes back to the late 1800s, and that's downtown on Ninth Street. I think the big thing is for people to come in, enjoy themselves, and I think they'll find a hospitable a group of that'll be welcoming them to town this weekend.
We look forward to it. Mike, just thank you for the time you've given us. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. All the best to you and the Tigers. Thank you.
Always great to see you. I look forward to seeing you Saturday. Take care, Roger.